A sliver of light spilled into the tunnel. Tama squinted. Beyond the opening was a dimly lit room, lined with wooden crates and barrels. The palace storage chamber. Then, they had made it. Baba Ebele stepped through first, scanning the room. "It is clear," he whispered. Tama followed, her pulse quickening. The chamber smelled of spices, dry meats, and aged wood. The only exit was a wooden door at the far end, slightly ajar. Yabo swallowed hard. What now? Tama turned to Baba Ebele. "Where is the sacred staff?" The old man's expression grew grim in the king's inner sanctum. "But we don't need it." The Yabo face paled. "That's deep inside the palace." Tama nodded. "Then that's where we are going?" Baba Ebele hesitated. "No. If we are caught, then we are done." Tama gazed darkened. "I don't care." She had come too far. She will not stop now. She will see it through, no matter the cost. Tama's mind raced as she took in the dimly lit storage chamber. She could not afford to be reckless. Not when the palace was crawling with guards. Not when she was only a few steps away from exposing the truth. "We need disguises," she whispered. Baba Ebele nodded, glancing around the room. Stacks of clothes bundles were piled in the corner. Servants' uniforms, plain brown tunics, loose wrappers, and head scarves, all smelling of stored fabric and age. Tama grabbed a set of and quickly wrapped herself in the garment, pulling the headscarves low over her forehead. With her face partially hidden and her usual clothing buried beneath these folds, she looked like any other palace maid. Iyabo hesitated, clutching her old wrapper. "I have never been inside the palace before." Tama gave her a firm look, "Then act like you belong." Iyabo swallowed but nodded, taking another set of clothing. Baba Ebele, however, did not reach for a disguise. Tama frowned. "Aren't you coming with us?" The old man exhaled deeply. "I will always slow you down, child, and the guards know my face. If they see me, it will put you in danger." Tama's chest tightened, but she understood. Baba Ebele touched her shoulder. "Listen carefully. Walk with purpose. Keep your head down and do not speak unless spoken to. The inner sanctum is beyond the main hall. Past the royal chambers, you must be careful. The queen's guards are always near." The old man's gaze softened. "Then go, before it is too late." Taking a deep breath, Tama turned toward the door. She and Iyabo stepped into the palace corridors. The palace was alive with movement. Servants bustled through the walls, carrying trays of food, polishing brass lamps, and arranging luxurious fabric along the windows. Guards patrolled in slow, methodical steps, their hands resting on the hilts of their swords. Tama kept her head down, her hands clasped like a dutiful servant. She walked with confidence, but not too much, just enough to blend in. Iyabo walked beside her, struggling to keep her fear in check. A tall, broad-shouldered guard brushed past them, barely sparing them a glance. Tama held her breath until it disappeared around the corner. Her hands were clamming, but she did not stop. Step by step, they moved deeper into the palace. The grand hall loomed ahead. Its marble floors gleamed under the golden light of hanging lanterns. Beyond it were the royal chambers, and past those, the king's inner sanctum, where the sacred staff was kept. Tama's heart pounded as they approached the hall. Then a voice cut through the air. "You there, servant girl!" Tama froze. A guard stood to left, his sharp eyes fixed on them. Iyabo stiffened. Tama forced herself to remain calm. She turned slightly, bowing her head. Yes, my lord. The guard narrowed his eyes. Where are you going? Tama's mind raced. If she hesitated, it would become suspicious. If she lied poorly, it would demand proof. Then an idea struck her. She straightened her posture, forcing confidence into her voice. The queen sent us to prepare the inner sanctum for prayer, my lord. The guard frowned. Tama kept her gaze lowered. She requested it be cleaned before her arrival. The guard hesitated, then grunted. Hurry then, and do not linger where you are not needed. Tama gave a short nod, nudging Iyabo forward. They walked quickly, their legs stiff, their breaths shallow. Only when they passed through the guard hall did Tama finally exhale. They had made it through. Now, only the royal chamber stood between them and the truth. Tama and Iyabo made their way deeper into the palace, their footsteps silent against the polished floors. The air smelled of incense and old secrets, the weight of history pressing down on them. They reached the entrance to the king's inner sanctum, where the sacred staff was kept. But before they could slip inside, a voice stopped them. You shouldn't be here. Tama's breath caught. A woman stood in the shadows, wrapped in the robes of a palace servant. Her face was thin, weary, her dark eyes sharp with knowing. Iyabo gasped. Who are you? The woman stepped closer. My name is Nkem. I have served in this palace since before the queen seized power. Tama said. Then you know what she has done. Nkem's eyes darkened. I know everything. She hesitated, then lowered her voice. And I want to see her fall. Tama exchanged a glance with Iyabo. If Nkem was telling the truth, she could be the ally they needed. Tama took a deep breath. Can you get us closer to her? Nkem gave a bitter smile. I served her food every night. Tama's pulse quickened. She reached into the folds of her wrapper and pulled out a small pouch. Baba Ebere had given it to her before they entered the palace. Inside was a deadly poison, one that would cause immense suffering, but not kill immediately. Alongside, it was a second pouch, the antidote. Tama handed the poison to Nkem. Slip this into our meal. Nkem hesitated for a moment before taking it. It would be done. As he slipped away into the corridors, Tama's fingers coiled around the second pouch. Soon, the queen will suffer as Kuma had suffered. And when she did, Tama would be there to deliver justice. Night fell over the palace. The halls grew quiet as servants retreated to their quarters and guards settled into their posts. Tama and Iyabo hid in the shadows near the queen's chambers, waiting. Then the first scream rang out. It was raw, guttural, a sound of agony. Tama's breath quickened. It worked. More screams followed. Along with the panging shouts of palace physicians, servants rushed in and out of the queen's chambers, their faces pale with fear. Then the doors burst open. The queen stumbled into the hallway, her luxurious robe stained with vomit, her skin pale as death. Blood dripped from her lips as she clutched her stomach, gasping for breath. Tama stepped forward. Your Majesty, she said, her voice cold. It seems you are unwell. The queen's eyes widened in horror. You did this! Tama stepped closer, holding up the small pouch. Inside this is the only thing that can save you. But first, you must confess. The queen fell to her knees, her body racked with pain. Guards and nobles had gathered now, whispering among themselves. Tama's voice rang through the halls. "Confess, Queen Ibiso. Confess to the mother of my son. Confess to all the lives you have taken." The queen trembled, blood pooling beneath her. I had no choice." Tama's eyes burned with fury. "You killed the king, your own husband? You feared he would take the throne from your illegitimate son? So you had him poisoned in his sleep." The queen shook her head quickly, but then another voice rose. "I was there when she did it." Baba Ebele stepped forward, his face filled with righteous fury. The gathered nobles turned toward him as he spoke. "She ordered me to prepare a poison to kill the former queen's only son. When I refused, she had my family executed. She forced my hands to mix the very potion that ended the boy's life." Cries of outrage filled the corridor. Tama's chest tightened. So this was why Baba Ebele had left the palace. This was why he had spent all these years in hiding. The queen sobbed, her body convulsing. Please give me the antidote." Tama stared down at her, remembering Kuma's lifeless body, remembering the agony of losing him. Tama asked the queen why she killed Kuma. The queen hesitated at first, but as the pain intensified, she began to talk. "King Tamori found out that my son, Timi, was not his biological son, and he conspired with his elder brother to get another wife that will bear him son that will inherit the throne. He met you at the palace gate when you came begging for food, and he felt pity for you. His brother picked interest in you and advised the king to marry you. I overheard their conversation, and I started monitoring, pausing the food you were given the night the king slept with you. But I was surprised that you survived it. From my findings, the maid that I trusted mistakenly put a sleeping herb in your food instead of the poison." Tama squinted, remembering the night someone in that room promised to protect her. In her heart, she had agreed to marry the king even though she never knew he was the king, because he had never for once told her his real identity. The queen continues. "Weeks later, one of my spies confirmed that you were pregnant and that you now lived with the hunter, Sam. I made the arrangements to have you killed. I gave Sam money to poison you, but you ran away that stormy night. I also have Sam killed to cover my tracks. For 5 years, I searched for you, but a loyal maid servant said she saw you in the market in one of the small villages that pay taxes to our kingdom. Then, I deployed another means to have you and Kuma taken care of once and for all." Tama's heart filled with rage, and she lunged forward to attack the queen, but the guard seized her. For a moment, she considered letting her suffer. But then, she thought of Kuma's gentle heart. He would not have wanted her to die like this. Tama threw the brush at her. "Take it!" The queen's trembling hand tore it open. She swallowed the antidote, her body heaving as the pain slowly faded. But justice had already been served. The nobles turned their backs on her. The guards stepped forward, their faces grim. A booming voice echoed through the walls. "The queen is unfit to rule." The king's council stood at the end of the corridor, their expression filled with fury. "She is banished from this land," the head councilman declared. "Her crimes shall never be forgotten." The guard seized her, dragged her away. Tama watched her go, the weight of vengeance lifting from her shoulders. It was over. The sun rose over the kingdom, casting golden light upon the palace. The people gathered in the great courtyard as the council made their final declaration. Tama, the rightful mother of the lost prince, shall rule in a queen's place. Tama stood before them, her heart heavy but filled. She had never imagined such a position for herself. She had only wanted justice for Kuma, but now she had a chance to rebuild, to lead with kindness, to honor the son she had lost. Years passed, and under her rule, the kingdom flourished. She found love again, marrying a nobleman who cherished her strength and wisdom. Together, they bore 2 sons, children who will one day inherit a kingdom ruled by justice, not cruelty. But no matter how many years passed, Tama never forgot Kuma. At last, she found peace.
No matter how long the night is, the sun will still rise.